Welcome to Startup Hack. All right, here are some lessons that I've learned about how to build a successful business while challenging some of the startup norms. So what I want to talk to you today about is about how to ship your first product and what is an MVP or minimum viable product. Now, a lot of people who like to debate the minimum viable product idea, but I'm going to get into 4 lessons to help you get to market faster. Let's dive in. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer Thomason. Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps, as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. With over a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, so you have an idea, you want to ship this product, and you want to try to get it to market fast. You need to be able to prove it out. We're going to talk about some ideas that I have around this, where I've helped entrepreneurs, where I've learned some of these lessons myself, and I'm continuing to work to actually launch new products all the time. So let's jump into some of these things today, because I want to talk about how to ship your first product and what is a true MVP or minimum viable product. I run into this all the time because I get with people and they're like, oh yeah, well, I know what minimum viable product is. And then they want everything in the sun. Minimum viable product really emphasizes on minimum. We're going to talk about some of that today. Now, as always, if you haven't liked and subscribed, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, because we try to bring you a lot of really helpful information. And I think that here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers and to build custom software solutions for companies. So if you haven't subscribed, I try to bring you a lot of great content. So now let's talk about this today. What is a minimum viable product? How do you get your first product shipped fast? So we've been working with a client right now. We estimated a year to get their first product out. We actually beat this using these principles by 3 months. We're actually delivering this product to market, getting it into hands of users 3 months early. So how do you do this and dive into this? Now, the story that I'm going to tell you about a little bit today is about, with some backstory here. So in 2009, I started a company with myself and a co-founder called Clean Router. And Clean Router is actually out there. We actually provide content filtering routers for parents so that you can filter the internet really easy for your kids. Plug in the device, filters it for your whole home. It's a great thing. We're actually working on the Wi-Fi 6 model right now. It's going to be launched here soon. So go check out cleanrouter.com if you're a parent. Now, we were building this idea out and we started to scale it out. Now, we'd finally found the right board. I talked about that in my last video. So if you want to go listen to that, that's a great story about how we turned a $40,000 failure into a success and funded the first year of our business. But this is, so in 2009, we had launched this idea and we were starting to build it out. So we had the idea and it was born, right? We'd built a prototype to prove it out. We'd formed our partnership through some bumpy roads. We'd found a little bit of funding to get off the ground, and we'd chosen the hardware to get started. So that brings you up to date to where we're at now. We have the hardware in hand and we're ready to start shipping. The software is almost ready to go. We need to get this to our first customers. So as of now, we have a successful company, and I've counseled with a lot of different people about what minimum viable product is. Now, when you're working with minimum viable product methodology, you have to be ruthless with what is minimum. What is the absolute bare minimum that you can do to get somebody to sign in? For a client right now, it means that we're just getting single sign-in and some other pieces in place, right? You just got to get to some very, very bare minimum and then go from there. It means that whatever you think you have to ship, don't wait. Get something work and start shipping it, right? Start shipping sooner. Now, you might think that I'm crazy, right? And I can tell you I've got some pretty good examples that I'm leaning back on here. So Apple's very first iPhone couldn't even text pictures. I want you to think about that today. This is so basic and fundamental to us now that it blows us away sometimes to remember that Apple's first iPhone could not text pictures, right? Dumb flip phones could text pictures, but they got the iPhone out fast enough so that and it couldn't even send pictures yet. Tesla's first $250,000 sports car was really just a proof of concept. There wasn't even a single supercharger in the country, and they used this as a way to fund the rest of the company that is Tesla today. So if you look back at them at what the $250,000 prototype was, and they sold them and they sold out, right? Gmail launched with a basic HTML page that didn't even have JavaScript and was invite only to get in. And they kept that beta sticker on for like 5 years. Amazon originally just sold books at first, right? So these are just a few of the examples where like they knew there was big things here, but they had to just dive in first. So I've often told entrepreneurs that if you're not embarrassed by your first product, then you shipped too late. You've got to get the product to customers' hands quickly and keep iterating fast. Now, a lot of people are going to disagree with this. They're going to come at me and be like, no way, you got to have product market fit and it's got to be perfect. And if it's not polished, customers are going to hate us. If you're really giving a product that actually fits a need, then trust me on this one, okay? Now, you can vet a business idea by having a landing page with analytics, signing up a form at the end, and then spend $500 over 10 days of advertising, guessing at audience, and you can actually try to figure out how close you're going to find some fit, right? And sometimes you can actually just be doing this by just trying to find out how much it's going to cost you to generate some leads. Now, we had built these two boards, and I talked a little bit about last time. So if you go check out the last episode, you'll see that we'd chosen between the ALIX board to the router station, right? So we had the router station board, but one of the big things that, like, even though this was the right hardware, one of the problems we had was we had cases for the ALIX board, but we didn't have any cases for the router station board. So we started to work with a manufacturer out of China. We started to produce, we'd built a case for the ALIX board, and we actually worked to try to get that ready to go for the RS Pro board. Now, just as we were about to put our order in for the first 1,000 cases, right? And Chinese manufacturers don't do anything unless it's 1,000 units and commonly 2,000 units. When we made a decision to move the Router Station Pro, we went back to Eric's nephew. We had to modify the previously planned case, this one that we'd use for the ALIX, and then we'd said we were going to do this. So we dropped $10,000 to build molds to make our first case and add another $10,000 run on our first 1,000 cases. So we were $20,000 in to get the first case developed. This was huge, right? But we had some friends and family that were literally begging us to start using the router. They wanted to be able to use Clean Router to be able to filter the internet for their kids at home. So what did we do? We actually, I took the first 10 of these. I got the box that they came in. I cut out cardboard, strapped an antenna into it, and we actually shipped our first 10 of these that worked as beta for our first customers for 6 months. For the first 6 months, this is actually how we delivered the product. And guess what? Customers didn't care. What we found out is after a time, we went through and we built this board and we had to get out and we had some problems. We had to Dremel it. We had to go through and how we were going to install it. And we went through all of this, but there were some big lessons that we learned from the case. The very first thing is nobody gave a crap what the case looked like. They cared what the internet performed. They cared about fast internet and about it actually filtering, but they didn't care what the thing looked like. This isn't an iPad. It's not a Ferrari. They weren't going to go pet their router. They wanted to actually just have it filter the internet for them. So nobody cared about the case. Next lesson is if you can, use an off-the-shelf product. In our case, we didn't have one, and we actually turned this little failure to success, and we became one of the only people to make the case for this board, and we sold a lot of those boards over time. Next, challenge your MVP assumptions, right? Whatever you think the most minimal part is, take 10 steps back. MVP. Get ruthless about this. My team gets tired of me hearing me say this. You've got to be ruthless about getting out an MVP so you can get it into customers' hands quickly. Get something out the door, right? Number 4, you need to sit down and figure out how long is it going to take you to sell 1? How long is it going to take you to sell 10, 100, and 1,000? There's going to be different lessons that you're going to learn at every single one of these. And so even your company is going to go through MVP cycles, just like your product, as you try to work to sell these different levels. So you've got to start doing this. You've got to just get the first one sold, then get the first 10 sold. I think we sold about, I don't remember, it was 30 or 40 of these in the cardboard boxes before we went back and actually retrofit them to the case, right? So this is like what you have to do. Now, if you have an idea, again, you can get a landing page, $500 in 10 days, and you can vet your idea pretty quickly if that's going to be true. So you can get the idea off the ground, and this is really a big question. What can you ship in 6 months? Now figure out how you can do it in 2 weeks. Is that possible? Well, let's find out. You probably think I'm crazy. Well, I am a little crazy, so you're right on that. But you can challenge yourself to see what you can make happen. What can you possibly cut out so you can ship it to get it out to customers early? Elon Musk said, stop being patient and start asking yourself, How do I accomplish my 10-year plan in 6 months? You'll probably fail, but you'll be a lot further along than the person who simply accepted it was going to take 10 years. Now, what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I love to have a great discussion. Here at Starter Pack, we love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps, as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. So reach out if we can do anything to help, because we'd love to. You can hit us up at starterpack.com/Spencer. And if you want to help continue to build your team, we'd love to do training for companies inside their companies to help turn these people who know your business into software developers. And here's some great information.
Want to become a software developer but don't want to spend 4 years in college and rack up massive student loan debts? Think you need technical expertise to get started? Welcome to Starter Pack, a better way to start your software career without student loans and years without income. One-on-one tutoring is included so you never get stuck and have guidance through the whole process. No technical experience is necessary. Learn at your own pace and in your own space. Starter Pack has worked with local state agencies in your area to make it so that qualifying students can get the program costs covered entirely and students can start earning while they learn.
Starter Pack's .NET Coding Bootcamp was a game changer for my career. As someone with no prior programming experience, I was initially intimidated by the idea of learning to code, but the instructors at Starter Pack broke down complex concepts into easy to understand lessons and provided hands-on projects that really cemented my understanding. The curriculum was comprehensive and up to date and got me ready for my first job. What really set Starter Pack apart was the focus on practical, real-world skills. Thanks to Starter Pack, I landed my dream job as a .NET developer within weeks of graduating. I went from knowing nothing about code to building professional-grade web applications in just a few intense months. If you're looking to break into .NET development or level up your coding skills, I cannot recommend Starter Pack enough.
Complete our 3-month coding bootcamp, gain hands-on experience, and land a paid internship. With 2 years of experience, on average, our graduates are making over $80,000 per year. The 3-month program includes technologies from Microsoft, Google, and Facebook. No debt, just a quick path to earning. Check out starterpack.com to code your future and start today.